Hey everybody, welcome to What's Up Wednesday. I want to talk this week a little bit about hard hats and helmets. I think this is a good topic to talk about because we're seeing and hearing a lot of change in the market as far as what requirements look like. So I thought maybe I'd start out with just a little bit of history. For those of you who don't know, the first hard hat was designed primarily for the mining industry back in 1919 by E.D. Bullard. So just following World War I, the first hard hats were being developed for the workplace. Before that, there were helmets for obviously use in the military, but it wasn't until 1919 that the first hard hat came out for commercial use. Since then, a lot of things have changed. And from about end of 2096 to the mid 2000s, I worked in equipment distribution and I sold a lot of hard hats. And most of you can probably identify what we would call a commonplace hard hat. This just happens to be a mine safety appliance, MSA, cap style hard hat, which has been the standard in the industry, dependent upon brand, Fiber Metal, Bullard. There's so many different brands out in the market. But this has been a mainstay for generations, literally from, I don't know, these injection molded hard hats probably came out in the 70s, maybe even earlier than that. And they've been commonplace, like I said, ever since. So this is what they call a cap style. It has a brim on the front. And this particular hard hat has a 4-point ratcheting suspension. And it, once again, pretty standard hard hat for use in the industry. The hard hat that we use at ISS traditionally is a hat style, which is a full brim. And these are very common. They provide a little bit more rain and sun protection. And you find these being used everywhere. And the one thing I will say is that the hard hat is often almost a fashion statement by workers. You'll see a lot of workers who will spend $100 or more on an MSA skull guard, fiberglass cap, or full brim hat. And people tend to want to take these with them from place to place and add stickers to them and whatnot. And there we could get into the rules about, how long these are good for and whether you could put stickers on them and etc. But I'm not going to really get into that too much today. I want to talk more about the transformation of where things are going. So again, this is a 4-point ratchet suspension that goes into the hat. And 4-point means that there are 4 points of connection on the hard hat. Now, what we're seeing today is kind of a slow migration away from these styles of hard hat. And I know that in many situations in the past, I've seen a call for chin straps. And when you look at a cap style or a full brim style hat, putting a chin strap on something like this is not the most comfortable approach. So what we're seeing is transformation now towards a helmet style. Now this is, I would say the helmet style really kind of came from the recreational market of mountaineering and rock climbing. And the company that led that was Petzl for many, many years. And then this Italian company, Kask, came around and they really kind of transformed that mountaineering helmet into a commercial use product. You can see this one has reflective tape on it. It doesn't actually even really have a brim on it, but this is what you would call a helmet. And since this came out, I think I've probably had this helmet for a good 5 years. Kask gave it to me. These have changed tremendously, and there are a lot of options. You can get them with earmuffs on them. You can get them with or without a visor on the front. And we're starting to see more and more of your big general contractors, your big national and international general contractors, whether they're building airports, commercial buildings, stadiums, high technology facilities, whatever it may be, they're starting to require the use of a helmet. And the big advantage of the helmet is that it does have an integrated chin strap. Now, this is another 4-point connection chin strap, and I guess you could call it harness setup. And some of the requirements that we're seeing now are for a 6-point suspension. And you got to kind of pay really close attention to that because from project to project and from company to company, the requirements are changing. But ultimately, the purpose of a helmet style is that they do have this chin strap. And if I put this on, you'll see that when I put it on, I could snap the chin strap and this helmet's not going anywhere. And I think that there were a lot of factors that led towards going towards helmets. But I know that one of those factors was in a fall or when people were leaning over, their hard hats were falling off from time to time. And if somebody's on the 15th story of a commercial tower that's going up and they lean over and their hard hat falls to the ground, that could do damage to somebody below them. And likewise, if they have fall protection on and they fall and the snap hook and the D-ring knock their hard hat off, then there's a chance that they could have head trauma from swinging into something. So there are a lot of reasons to go to a helmet style, but ultimately this is being driven by policy. This is being driven by primarily contractors who are requiring the use of a helmet style. So get yourself informed. There are a lot of manufacturers out there, and I'm not in the equipment industry, so I don't know them anymore, but I'm sure MSA, Bullard, 3M, Honeywell, to name, 4 of the big manufacturers, as well as Kask and a lot of others, are now making and selling these types of hard hats. And you can get them anywhere from really inexpensive models for about $20 up to a couple $100. And I know that this common Kask helmet, which a lot of the big general contractors in the US are using, averages around $100 to $120 a hat. So think about that. Be informed. Make sure that you're purchasing the right thing based on the requirements of the specific project that you're working on. And the other thing I would say is expect that from one job to the next, that there may be a change that requires that you put your people in all new equipment. So maybe the best bet would be to set a standard or a specification for kind of the highest level of protection available, put all your people in that, and that way you're at the industry best practice level, and regardless of what the policies are, you'll exceed it. So hopefully that helps. We'll see you next Wednesday.